Hello, and welcome into another episode of the FanTC Betting Pod with Nick and Cody, coming at you with our Week 10 best bets here, recording on a Saturday morning. Codes, how are we feeling about this week?
Yeah, feeling all right. Put together my 5 bets this morning, so was a little indecisive throughout most of the week, but I feel pretty good about the 5 that I chose. So looking forward to getting into them. I honestly didn't hear. Did you introduce this as the FanTC podcast again? Is that correct?
Yeah, I didn't know if we had
Okay.
officially made the switch yet, so I didn't want
Yeah,
to confuse the viewers, but Cody, go ahead.
fair enough. I was just going to say, I did not know which way you were going to go with it. Should have clarified before. But if you do see some changes on the socials and on the podcast and YouTube, we may end up going with a name change to better, I guess, describe ourselves with just a name through the betting side. But if you see any of that, don't worry about it. Just stay subscribed. All that is still the same thing. But yeah, Nick, do you want to jump in? We could do a quick recap of Week 9 since we missed out on that podcast and then get into our best bets.
Yeah, rough week for the pod for sure. We kind of said going in it was a very tough week for us to gauge overall, and it kind of played itself out that way. I went 1-4. Cody went 2-3. Couple bad beats, couple just bad bets mixed in there. I'll run through mine real quick, and then Cody can do the same. Chiefs -1.5 against the Dolphins. That one covered pretty easily. Dolphins kind of made it interesting at the end. Chiefs offense, woof, been really, really rough the past couple weeks, but it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I'm sure they'll figure it out. Chiefs pulled out the one touchdown win in Germany. Minnesota at Atlanta under 37.5. This one was pretty much dead by the middle of the third quarter. Looked good until we had a 60-yard screen pass by a tight end go the distance. Obviously, Jonnu Smith, everyone had that on their bingo card, so that kind of ended up kicking off the scoring in the second half and sent this game pretty far over at the end of the day. Kind of a bad read by me. I woke up on Sunday morning and saw this thing had been bet up to 39 and kind of knew I was in a little bit of trouble there. Seattle +6 at Baltimore, another one that was pretty much dead just from the start. Geno Smith absolutely did not show up. Baltimore's offense ran all over the Seahawks defense that had been really, really good at stopping the run up until that point, but Baltimore kind of presents a different challenge, so they just could not keep up. Lost 38-3, and honestly, they deserved every bit of that 38-3. It was not a close game. Indianapolis at Carolina +2.5 to Carolina at home. We lost this one as well. Bryce Young threw 2 pick sixes in this game. Whenever you are betting that side, you are pretty much always going to lose that. Would have been a 13-13 game without those 2 pick sixes, but when you're backing rookie quarterbacks, you have to live and die by the sword, as it were, in that situation. So we'll take our lumps there. And then finally, another bad quarterback that we backed on Monday night, New York Jets +3.5, also a loser. Pretty much, I thought this game played out almost exactly how I hoped. From just a play-by-play standpoint, the Chargers offense could do basically nothing against this Jets defense. They held them under 200 yards for the game. We just had a couple really unfortunately timed turnovers. Garrett Wilson, his first fumble since Cody. Go ahead and guess, when's the last time Garrett Wilson lost a fumble?
I don't even know if you ever lost a fumble before.
2019, he was a freshman at Ohio State, so he has not lost a fumble in the NFL yet until this game, while they were driving, of course, into plus territory for the Jets there. Just a bad beat all around. I think that the Chargers also had 2 fumbles that they
A
recovered.
little
Both
bit
of
of
them,
cutting out
obviously.
here. I don't know if it's Nick or
So
myself.
honestly, if the Jets and Chargers played tomorrow and you told me I was catching that same 3.5, I would
I'm
bet
just
the
going to
Jets
go ahead and run
again,
through mine.
very
Maybe if
confidently.
he's the one who
So,
cut out. Oh, there we go. We are back
my
connected.
bad.
Sorry.
Okay,
Yep, we
sorry.
are good. Nope.
Basically, I had a couple bad bets this week. The Atlanta under and the Seattle at Baltimore, just bad reads. Carolina and the Jets, I would take them again tomorrow if you gave me the same line. Just had some bad luck. That's the way things are going to go for you sometimes. I think a couple bounces go differently in those games. We could have turned it around. The Jets one really hurts. If we had covered that game, we would have also hit our teaser, and we would have been up a unit on the week. Instead, we are down 4 units, so really, really big swing. We are still slightly positive on the year, but we need to turn it around. I'll be better these next couple weeks. I've had a rough go the past 3 weeks for sure.
Yep. I mean, that's part of what this world is. You're gonna have ups and downs. So at least you avoided the dreaded 0-5 week, and I'm glad it was the Chiefs that were able to do that for you. That's just a little
Thanks.
bittersweet, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, it was excellent.
um,
Yeah, lost two of my most important fantasy matchups too. So yeah, just a stinker of a week all around for sure.
yeah, I finally turned it around in fantasy. Actually, won a couple of matchups. Decided that didn't want to
You
have the worst month of
you
fantasy history. So
backdoor that motherfucker in our sleeper league, bro. That
yes, I
Austin
did.
Eckler touchdown. I was
Absolutely.
me and my other friend that's in the league, Joey, were just watching it was our friend Zach was playing you last week. Just an absolute incredible backdoor cover by Kody. That last second Austin Eckler touchdown saved it for him. But anyway, go ahead with
Yep.
your recap.
I was watching it and I was explaining to Victoria, I'm like, yeah, we need this to happen because I was also going against Austin Eckler in another league that I needed to win also. So I'm like, we have this fine
Jeez.
little edge that we need to find a way to, and we ended up finding and I got both the wins. So it was
Damn.
very, very
Threads
lucky.
the needle.
Yeah, but let's get through these five. Again, I went 2-3 last week, so didn't have a complete killer of a week, but did not make you guys money, so that is my bad. We'll start with Carolina plus 2.5. Nick already laid it out. Even after the first pick six, I felt like there was a chance the Panthers could get back in the game. The second that the second one happened, the bet was completely dead, so that one was rough. My lock of the week, New England minus 2.5. What an absolute joke backing Mac Jones. That is what I get. That's what I deserve. So, is what it is. Honestly, I thought he looked pretty good. I thought they were going to tie it up or potentially win it on the last drive. The interception off of his receiver's hands killed that, obviously. So that one was rough. And then the last loss of the week, the Giants at the Raiders over 37.5. Ended up right at 36. Honestly, don't hate the bet. If Daniel Jones doesn't tear his ACL in the first quarter of the game, I have a really good feeling that over ends up hitting. So not
Bad
too
beat.
upset about
Yeah,
that one. A
that
little bit
sucks.
of a bad beat. And then my two wins, Cincy minus 2.5 on Sunday Night Football last week. I said it in the preview. I thought they were a better team than the Bills. I think they kind of proved that. And then Chargers, Jets under 40.5. Thank you, Zach Wilson, for being a very, very below average quarterback and having no ability to score points on a below average defensive unit in the Chargers. So much appreciated there. Ended up, like I said, 2-3. I was a little rough after the noon and 3 o'clock games, but Sunday night, Monday night football panned out for us.
Hey, you hit your college football bet as well. Mizzou very easily covered their spread, so I'll give you even on the week on that one. Hopefully, you also rode my Service Academy under. Love giving that stat out because
Yep.
I thought it was very cool. That hit as well. Not the way you would have expected, but it
Yeah,
always hits.
that's what I was about to say.
46-10 now since 2005. Incredible stat there, but. Anyway, Kody, go ahead and kick us off with your first Week 10 best bet. This is actually really interesting because we didn't do our Tuesday show, so I have no clue where you were going here. I think if we have any overlap, then our minds are just synced up. But I'm curious to see where you go here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll start out with one of my favorite bets of the week, Jaguars +3 against the 49ers. I love the Jags as home favorites this week, especially when the 49ers have to travel across 3 time zones to go play them. This is a 10 a.m. body clock game for the Niners. Not going to put a bunch of stock in that, but I do think it's worth noting. One of the reasons I like backing the Jags right now, they are 12-3 in their last 15 games. 2 of their 3 losses came to the Chiefs. So against the rest of the NFL, they have been pretty dominant. They sneaky like to muck up games a little bit. They have the 9th best defense in points per game, and their offense isn't necessarily explosive. They are upper middle of the pack when it comes to points per game on offense. So I just think this is going to be a game. It's going to be a little bit lower scoring than I'm sure a lot of people are expecting. I think the Jags end up sticking in this one. I think the Jags have a good chance to win this one at home. So if you want to put a little bit on the money line, I don't hate it. My only concern is the 49ers are getting back Debo, and there is still a chance they get back Trent Williams. If they get back Trent Williams, it's a little bit less. I'm a little less confident in it, but I still like the number. I still like the home underdog of the Jags. I like that the coaching matchup is pretty even. You can give a slight edge to Shanahan if you want, but I think it's pretty even. And then I love Trevor Lawrence when I'm looking at the quarterback matchup. And like I said, both these defenses are pretty good. So Jags +3 at home against the 49ers.
You stole the words right out of my mouth, Cody. I was going to say I'm actually leaning the other way here. I think the Jags are a bit of a paper tiger. They've had a lot of soft matchups against some below average teams. They are catching three at home though, and they have a good coach and a good QB. So I don't hate it. I could not make up my mind on this line. I would very softly lean Niners, but I could be talked into either side. So I did not end up betting the game. I instead bet the under 45. That is my first best bet of the day. I assume Cody's going to like it based on how he talked about this game. I think 45 is a pretty high line for a game, again, which Cody kind of laid out. These two defenses are a little underrated. Maybe not the Niners so much, but the Jags have actually been a very good unit so far this year. The Niners have the lowest no-huddle percentage in the NFL. The Jags are 11th lowest. This clock's going to be moving. There's not going to be, a lot of snaps going on with 20 seconds left on the play clock. They're going to bleed this thing down. Both these teams have pretty high rush rates as well. So we should have this clock moving throughout the game. When both teams have extended rest, 8+ days, the under is 99, 47, and 1 since 2018. That's 67.8%. That's great correlation. 23-5 so far this year as well. So the defenses, when they get healthy and the offenses are a little rusty, that's kind of when you see these unders really start popping. And this thing, I think, opened at 46.5 too, so it's been bet down by the pros. Still like it a lot at 45. I would try to get it there, though. 45 is a pretty key number. A lot of scores that add up to 45 that are pretty common in football. So yeah, if you can get it at 45, get it there. I'd probably bet it to 44.5. Once it gets to 44, I'd stay away, but this is a good number here. Also, the betting percentage, 48% of the tickets, 77% of the money. So we are riding with the pros here.
Absolutely. Nick, I don't like that bet. I love it. That is my second best bet of the week. I'm doubling up on the Jags and Niners game, so love that one quite a bit for all the reasons you just said. And also, I did forget to mention on my spread bet, the Jags +3, 44% of bets, 85% of the money. So a big pros Joe's matchup as well on the spread. So in this game, I have Jags +3, and I also have the under 45.5 as one of my best bets. I love this game. Cannot wait to watch it.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's good. You always, if you're riding with the pros, that means they know something. You'd hope at least they know something that the public does not. But I'm surprised to see that, and that number has not moved at all. It is just stuck right at 3. It's gone. I don't even think it's. I've seen it. I would have suspected it to tick down to 2.5 or 2 if we see these really stark percentages. That's usually what happens, but. The books they want money to come in on the Jags right now, which gives me a little bit of pause at taking them. But I get all the trends and everything points to you taking the Jags. So I'm with you, especially if it's a lower scoring game. You want to take the points in those matchups. All right, so your second best bet was Jags at Niners under, just like me. I'm going to Cincinnati for my next best bet. We are riding with the Bengals at home. We are laying the 6.5 against the Texans. I think this is a good spot to ride the Bengals and fade a rookie coming off a historic performance. CJ's home road splits have been pretty stark so far this year. In 4 home games, his yards per attempt is 9.3. He's got 11 touchdowns. Those are great numbers. But on 4 road games, his yards per attempt drops all the way to 6.8. Only 4 total touchdowns, 1 rushing, 3 through the air in 4 games. So he's a rookie. He's been very good, and last week was really fun to watch. But I think this is a classic spot where you just kind of have to fade that type of historic performance. I think if the Texans had not had that miracle drive to win the game against the Bucs last week, this number would be 7.5 or 8, and that's kind of a fluky thing. Even though it was impressive that we want to bet against, I really like this under a touchdown. I'd probably bet it at 7. I would hope to get that plus 100 juice that some books kind of lay out for you if you get that extra half point. But try to get it under a touchdown if you can. Shop your lines, like Cody likes to say. The last 3 games for the Bengals on defense are really impressive, too. I think they have been really underrated on that side of the ball. 18 points to Buffalo, 17 points to San Francisco, 13 points to Seattle. Very, very good teams, good offenses. They've held all of them under 20 points. This is just, if CJ goes in there and slings it around, you got to give him his flowers. I still think even even if that's the case, if CJ goes in, puts up 24 points, this Bengals offense is good enough to get to 31, 34. I was a little concerned when I saw T. Higgins injured himself in practice. He has a hamstring, so he will not play, but the Texans are going to be missing their star outside receiver, Nico Collins, as well, so I feel like that kind of evens out at the end of the day. Jamar is still there. He's going to play, even though he's a little banged up. Give me the Bengals, -6.5. And by Cody's reaction, I'm assuming that he is going to agree with me.
I love it. Let's ride. Absolutely. I also got Bengals. And yes, like you said, I love to say, shop your lines. Through the Action Network, you can get it at -6 on DraftKings. So I'm going to take the extra half a point and take the Bengals -6. So, yeah, same reasons that Nick laid out. I think this is a great matchup for the Bengals. The Texans' defense has been very up and down this year. We obviously saw last week they gave over 30 points up to the Buccaneers. So I think there's a good chance that the Bengals are able to run it up quite a bit. And like you said, you want to fade C.J. Stroud after the week he had last week. So I love this one, absolutely. Glad that we can agree on some of these this week. Bengals -6 for sure.
Alrighty, this is going pretty well so far.
Let's see. I got my eye on my next one. Just go ahead and say it. I know you got it in there.
I don't know about that. I'm going to be honest. This is number 5 for me. This one is a lot more of a trend pick than it is a heart pick as far as just like me looking at the lines and liking it. But the trends absolutely love this pick. I really wanted to get a pick in there. Spoiler alert, I don't have another pick where I take the underdog. I liked a lot of favorites this week. I did not want to lay points in all of my best bets, though. So we are going to take points here with the Minnesota Vikings +3 at home against the New Orleans Saints. You love, love, love fading Dennis Allen as a favorite. In his coaching career, he's 4-13-1 against the spread as a favorite, 1-6-1 this year. Those are really, really strong trends. Minnesota coming off an emotional win for sure. Usually you like to fade those type of teams, but they're not getting the line bump you would expect. I think maybe this would have been 3.5 or 4 if they'd lost that game to Atlanta, but I don't know. It's hard for me to see a New Orleans team going on the road to a quality opponent and getting more than 3 points. So I would have expected this line to be closer to 1.5. You're getting the full field goal at home. Minnesota getting I think you have the better coach in Kevin O'Connell. And Josh Dobbs makes things happen. He's not the best quarterback in the world. There's a reason he's bounced around the league, but he's not one of those guys that's just going to drop back, and if it's not working through the air like a Brett Rippon we saw last week, that just is completely incompetent. Josh Dobbs has the legs. He can make things happen. And I think with a full week of practice, Kevin O'Connell's only going to be able to install a few more plays that he actually knows. So give me the better team catching a field goal at home. Not the better team, but the better coach, and I think a pretty similar quality of roster, to be honest, beyond the quarterback.
Yeah, I don't hate this one at all. I think the Saints are probably a little bit overrated just because their defense has been pretty good this year. But like you said, Dennis Allen's terrible as a favorite. Yeah, it has been up and down. They're good at they can cover pretty well. They're not that great against the run, if I remember correctly. So it kind of just depends on their matchups. But yeah, Minnesota's been playing pretty well. Their defense has really improved. They blitz a lot. So if you have Alvin Kamara this week, I think you're going to be pretty happy in fantasy. You may take a look at his receiving totals also. If they're a reasonable number, I don't mind betting those because I imagine he's going to get a good amount of dump offs from Derek Carr. But yeah, I don't like this one either. I didn't really have a great feel on either side of it just because I could see the Vikings coming off a pretty emotional win last week and maybe coming out a little bit flat. But like you said, Dennis Allen is the perfect coach to bet against in this situation. So I kind of had both of those in my head, decided to stay away from it. But I think if you're taking the lesser of the two evils, then take the Vikings and bet against Dennis Allen and bet against Derek Carr. Derek Carr is not a good quarterback when he's a favorite either. So you get both of those in your advantage.
Yeah, just love getting the full 3 here. Once it goes under to 2.5 or 2, I am not as enthusiastic. But if you're getting the field goal, I'll ride with it. I think a push is fairly likely here if you don't win it.
For sure. All right, let's go with number 4 for myself. We are going to take the Titans +1.5 at the Buccaneers. This one for me is a huge coaching mismatch. We got Mike Vrabel, who is easily a top 10 coach in the NFL, against Todd Bowles, who is probably a bottom 5 coach in the NFL, as well as he is the most conservative coach on fourth downs or very short I think it's basically just on fourth down. I think it's like under 4th and 2 when the statistics tell you should go for it. He never goes for it. Like, he is the most conservative coach in the NFL by a mile, so I don't see the Bucs necessarily blowing out the Titans at all. I also think you could make an argument Will Levis could potentially be a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. I'm just going to wash those two out for right now. I don't really have a lot of faith in a guy with only 2 starts, but I'm getting Vrabel. Overall, both these teams, I think you're looking at pretty much a wash. I think the Bucs could potentially play better if they had better coaching, but they typically seem to fall flat in these kind of situations. Mike Vrabel as an underdog, 27-18-1 in his career, so kind of riding that trend, riding the coaching trend, and taking the Titans plus 1.5 at the Buccaneers.
It's ballsy. It's very ballsy. I like the side. Did you have any interest in the over in that game? I thought that was pretty low. Both these defenses have been struggling lately. Only 39.5. I thought that was an interesting play as well, but
not a bad over-under for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking about that one, but it's tough to take an over with Will Levis and Baker Mayfield involved because either one of them just falling flat in their face can kind of ruin that for you. But interesting play if you want to go that route. But yeah, Tennessee, clear coaching advantage. I would take that side as well. I was a little scared off of it because I was expecting to catch a few more points having Will Levis, go on the road to Tampa Bay. But I think that should tell you that Vegas does not want you to take the Titans because they would be giving you the full 3 if they wanted you to, bet the Titans. I think they're smelling the same thing you are here, Cody. So hopefully Tennessee ends up winning this game. My 4th best bet of the day, we are going to Los Angeles. Detroit, -3 at the Chargers. We are riding with the public here. Dan Campbell, 6-2 with the rest advantage as a coach of the Lions so far. That's since 2021. I'm just taking the better coach and the better overall team in one of the least hostile environments in the NFL. Probably more Detroit fans in the building. We talk about this a lot. The Chargers do not really have a home field advantage. In fact, it usually goes the other way, especially with fan bases that travel. And you best believe this Lions fan base is going to travel right now with one of their best teams in the last couple decades. It's definitely a public bet. 82% of tickets on the Lions, but also 94% of money. So it seems like the pros that are on this game are still leaning towards the Lions. Just don't think the books have quite caught up with them. I think by the time this game kicks off, this number will be 3.5 as well. So try to get it while it's at 3. The Chargers love to lose close games, so I don't see them blowing out this really good Lions team at home. And if it's close, I think the Chargers will find a way to lose it. Let's hope they find a way to lose it by more than 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that one as well. If you are going to bet for the Chargers, they better be playing a pretty bad team, and any above-average team, you can just bet against them, and you are looking solid this year. So love that one for you. I think that's a good bet. Like you said, it's going to be Detroit West in that stadium on Sunday. I mean, it's probably going to be – there may be 70% of the stadium filled by Detroit fans, which sounds like a lot, but that's just because there are not a lot of Chargers fans in general in Los Angeles. So I could definitely see that being a weird game on television. All right, my last one. This one, I am just putting all my faith in Tommy DeVito. We're going to take Cowboys at Giants under 39, and hopefully Tommy DeVito keeps playing like he is, and he just keeps helping me out. My only concern with this under is he gives up multiple defensive touchdowns, which I think there is a possibility. I think there's almost a guarantee he gives up one or at least a super short field advantage for the Cowboys offense at least once or twice. So I just need the Cowboys to manage on defense and not absolutely destroy this Giants team. But under 39, I think the projected points for the Giants was like 10.5. I think you could probably take the under there and feel pretty good. I don't think Tommy DeVito is going to be able to move the ball on the Cowboys. If you are trusting the Giants at all, it's basically you're hoping for a splash play on the defensive end, maybe a Dak Prescott touchdown or pick 6 or something like that. But, yeah, I think this Giants team is very, very bad, and Tommy DeVito is going to be the worst quarterback in the NFL, taking that mantle from Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I was honestly I was going on the Cowboys up until we did the pod and I saw this number. It ticked up to 17 and a half. That is
Yep.
a lot of juice, and that 17 number is pretty key. Again, a lot of scores can add up to that number. That'd be very easy to backdoor that if you're the Giants. You know, say the Cowboys are up 27-3 late and the Giants score a touchdown, they would cover at 27-10. So a hard number to bet. When it was at 16 and a half, I think it was still going to be in my best bets just because of how big of a mismatch this is here. So yeah, hopefully Tommy DeVito and the Giants don't get much going, and the Cowboys help us out and don't cover this number by themselves, because I think that's probably the only way you lose it without, like you said, a multiple defensive scores. All right. My last best bet of the day. We are going to Buffalo on Monday night. We are taking the under 46 and a half. Monday night football unders are absolute cash so far this year. 10-1, 55, 28-1 since 2019. So this is not just a yearly thing. We've talked about it. Primetime unders have been absolutely killing it. Another one hit on Thursday. I think we're up to like 8 or 9 straight, and it's like 24-7 overall or something. This number also seems a little inflated to me, 46 and a half, pretty high for a Buffalo team that's been struggling on offense to a degree, a Denver defense that's been improving, and a Denver offense that's just uninspiring in general. I don't think they're going to be able to take advantage of the injuries on the Buffalo defense, and if they are, they're going to be moving the ball methodically down the field. They've hit a few big plays so far this year, but for the most part, this Sean Payton offense is a lot of quick stuff, a lot of run game. The clock's going to be moving again. We talked about that. Talked about this in the San Francisco-Jacksonville game, but that same stat applies here. Both teams have extended rest in this one. So that stat, the under, is 99, 47, and 1 when both teams have 8+ days of rest since 2018. We can use that one as well. I did not know where to go with this line. I wanted to take Denver, but I'm scared by the fact that Buffalo's still getting 7.5. It tells me the books might just think this is going to be a blowout. So I'm not backing my boys. I'm just going to take the under instead. It's been absolute money so far for us.
Yeah, you're right. 23-7 primetime under so far. Honestly, Sunday Night Football looks like one perfectly primed for another under, and so does Monday. So I like that a lot. Honestly, I don't mind the Broncos plus 7.5. I think the Bills are kind of reeling, and
Scares me.
It does scare me because this is the exact time where they just decide to go win 31-7 on a random primetime game and just let everyone know that they're still a really good football team. So that's why I would avoid it, but I don't mind the Broncos plus 7.5. I think it's going to be a pretty close game. Let's get into some college football and our teaser so we can get the people out of here in a little timely manner. We are going to continue to fade Georgia here. We are going to take Ole Miss. You can get them at plus 10.5, maybe plus 11 at some books, but as long as it's over 10, I like it. I think Ole Miss is potentially just a slightly better version of Missouri, and I do think that Missouri should have kept that game a little bit closer. We saw Luther Burden with the ankle injury at the end of the second half. That completely killed the Mizzou offense, and they were still able to stay somewhat in that game through most of the second half. I see Ole Miss coming out. I think they're going to be able to keep up with Georgia. It's all going to depend on the Ole Miss defense, which has been hit or miss, but without Brock Bowers, the Georgia offense is a little less dominant, so we're going to keep fading them. I don't think Ole Miss is going to upset them like I was hoping Mizzou would last week, but I do think they can keep it within 10. So Ole Miss plus 10.5, lock of the week, and then ride with your boys. Take Mizzou money line today as well if you're listening to this before 2:30, because they are beating Tennessee, and you heard it here first. Or probably not first, but you heard it here last.
I like your Ole Miss pick a lot. Georgia's been not nearly their dominant self so far this year. Like you said, that Mizzou game last week, if Brady Cook had not thrown that goddamn pick right into the midsection of that defensive tackle in the middle of the fourth quarter, who knows? They might be able to actually win that game. They were driving at that point. It was a 6-point affair, but total yards were basically even. Yards per play were basically even. Third down efficiency was even. First downs, 21-21, Missouri and Georgia last week. So if this Missouri team, and they lost the turnover battle 2-0 also and still kept that game very close. So if this Georgia team can't blow out a good but not great Missouri team at home, I doubt that they can do the same to, like you said, probably just a slightly more explosive version of the same squad in Ole Miss with maybe a slightly worse defense. But I'll take the points there as well. I like it. My teaser for the week, there is a lot of beautiful games that we can tease this week. Ton of games that fall in between that 8.5 and 6.5 spread range that we love to look at. We're taking the Bengals, minus point 0.5. Already laid it out in my best bets, but now you just need them to win the game here. Seahawks on a pick'em. They absolutely need this game against the Commanders. I did consider it for my best bets. It was a little tough, though. Seattle does not have a great track record of covering large spreads at home under Pete Carroll, so I kind of stayed away from it. But they are desperate to win this game. They need to keep up with the Niners, and they just got embarrassed last week on the road against the Ravens. So they are going to come home and give it their all against the Commanders. Bills, minus 1.5 at home. Another team that is super desperate for a win. They're down to 5-4. They're out of the playoffs right now. They absolutely need to beat this Broncos team at home, and I think they will get it together and do that by at least 2 points. Once again, Bengals minus 0.5, Seahawks on a pick'em, Bills minus 1.5. That's plus 150 for your teaser.
Yeah, love it. Love it, love it, love it. You're taking a lot of good teams against a lot of bad teams, so that's a good way to tease. Get a win with some teasers. Whew, lost my train of thought there. Love that. All right. Well, Nick, do you want to rattle through your 5 real quick? I'll rattle through my 5, and then we'll let the people go.
My 5 best bets of the week: San Francisco at Jacksonville, under 45. Me and Kody sharing that one. Houston at Cincinnati, minus 6. Thank you for Kody for shopping the lines. I'll take the half point as well. Detroit, minus 3 at the Chargers. We're taking Dan Campbell in the Lions against the poorly coached Brandon Staley-led Chargers. New Orleans at Minnesota, plus 3. Again, fading Dennis Allen as a favorite is a good bet to make. Denver at Buffalo, under 46.5 on Monday Night Football. Let's continue that trend. Unders 10-1 in Monday night games so far this year.
All right. Love it, love it, love it. We got 49ers at Jaguars, under 45.5, as well as Bengals minus 6 versus Texans. Nick and I agree on both of those. Jaguars plus 3 at the 49ers, doubling down on that game. Titans plus 1.5 at the Buccaneers. And then the Cowboys at Giants, under 39. And again, college football bet of the week, Mizzou money line in Ole Miss plus 10.5. Go ahead and parlay those two together because they're both definitely happening this week.
Love it. Let's absolutely cash these tickets. And Kody, unless you have any more words for the people, let's get out of here.
Yep. Peace out, brother.